Welcome back to the Bulldog Insider. We're joined now by Danny Tarkanian, son of the late Jerry Tarkanian, who died a little more than 5 years ago. Now, Danny has the latest way to remember Tark the Shark. He recently wrote a book titled Rebel with a Cause, the true story of Jerry Tarkanian. Now, Danny, everybody has heard stories of Jerry Tarkanian. What is the true story that you want to get out there?
Well, there are a lot of misconceptions, and if you were living here in Fresno during the time my father coached here, you probably read a lot of them in the Fresno Bee and some other places. I was a part of my father's program from the very beginning as his ball boy, former player, former coach, as an attorney for the NCAA matter, and I know what transpired here, and I thought it would be good to put it out on paper, have it all documented. But more importantly, talk about the really fun things about my dad. He had a great sense of humor. He was a king of one-liners. He had the greatest sarcasm and wit when he was motivating players. And I put all those stories in the book. My dad used to tell a bunch of different recruiting stories, not only about what he did, but other coaches like Jim Valvano and Abe Lemons and some others. So I put that all in the book, and I hope it's very entertaining for the readers.
If any of those one-liners are like the ones in Jack Furtig's book, I'm sure people will definitely be entertained.
Yes.
Why now? Why did you choose to write and publish this now?
Well, I started it a while ago, and it took me a while to get it to a point that I took out all the stuff that was personal to me and anything that might have been just my motivation as opposed to what the readers would want. And secondly, you're seeing all the attention now being brought upon the NCAA, questioning their actions that my dad had questioned 40, 50 years ago. So it's come sort of full circle. After all this time, people finally realize on a lot of the things my dad said about the NCAA is true, and maybe they should go back and reevaluate what he did in his career to understand how great of a coaching career he actually had.
I have not had a chance to read the book yet. I understand it's 371 pages. Mike Krzyzewski, Coach K, wrote the foreword. Why did you decide on him to do that, and how did you get him to do that?
It was easy. I just called him up and asked him, and he said for sure. And the reason I picked him was because of the epic battles between Duke and UNLV in the early 90s. And there was one great win for UNLV and a very disappointing loss for us, so I thought that was a perfect person.
Your dad is remembered fondly in Fresno, and you know that. You also know what those days were like in the late 90s and early 2000s because you were here with him on staff when he was the Bulldogs head coach. How do you talk about Fresno State and Fresno in general in the book?
Fresno's a huge part of this book. I know UNLV may have a little bit more because of the number of years, but a lot of this deals with my father when he went to college here and the development that he had, and the Van Waldorf, or Galder, if I'm remembering correctly, the football coach here at Fresno that built my dad's philosophy. My dad's courting of my mother here. His first coaching job was San Joaquin Memorial. Then I get into those great games that UNLV and Boyd Grant had. Even though we weren't here in Fresno, we talked about those, and I spent a lot of time those last 7 years, and about what the great community this was and how much they supported my father. Even though the years may not have been as successful as he had at UNLV, the people here in Fresno were the best ever.
So again, the book is titled Rebel with a Cause, the true story of Jerry Tarkanian. Tell people, our viewers out there, if they want to get a copy, how can they? How much does it cost? Where can they buy it?
The best place to go is Amazon. It's online there, and it's the quickest way to get it. It costs $20 for a paperback and $30 for the hard copy.
Okay. He's Danny Tarkanian, son of the late Jerry Tarkanian. Danny, thanks so much for the time today. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me on, and thank you, Fresno, for all you did for my father.